Melissa, how old is your daughter?
16.
What's her name?
Carly.
How long has she been missing?
It's been 3 months since 16-year-old Carly disappeared.
Carly Gousset's picture is taped to window after window in the town of Bishop, California.
We're pretty confident that she walked away from the house that morning because people saw her.
Melissa, how old is your daughter?
16.
What's her name?
Carly.
How long has she been missing?
I last saw her at 5:30 this morning, and then a neighbor saw her walking down the street at 6:30.
Do you know what she was last wearing?
Skinny jeans and sweater.
At the moment, Carly started screaming in terror. Her stepmother believed the right thing to do was film it. She was wrong. Not because it was cruel. She said she walked into the desert. Her father said she was abducted. Both were wrong. If you think this is just a runaway teen story or a drug overdose, you're already missing the point. Because this wasn't about a girl getting lost. It was about a girl escaping her own home. It was about the footprints that stopped, right at the edge of the driveway. And the question is, how did a teenager vanish from a flat open desert while her parents were sleeping 10 feet away? Guys, thanks so much for being here. I promise to make this valuable for you. If you have a second, drop where you're watching from in the comments. Honestly, it's my favorite thing seeing how far this community stretches across the world. Look, I'm just trying to be the best creator I can be for you. If I earn your trust today, a subscribe would be amazing. If not, please tell me why in the comments. I read everything and want to get better. Sorry for taking up your time. Let's dive in. Carly Gousset was born on May 13th, 2002, to her parents, Zach Gousset and Lindsay Fairley. Her early life, like that of many children, was shaped by the changing dynamics of her family. When she was just a toddler, around the age of 2, her parents made the difficult decision to separate. Following the separation, Carly went to live primarily with her mother, Lindsay. Within about 2 years of the divorce, Carly's father, Zach, found love again and married a woman named Melissa, who would become Carly's stepmother. Zach and Melissa went on to build a new family of their own. Now, it's important to note that the timelines in this case can be incredibly confusing, and this is a theme that will unfortunately repeat itself. According to most sources, around the time Carly was 5 or 6 years old, a significant change occurred. She moved in full-time with her father and her stepmother, Melissa. At some point, Zach had considered moving to Nevada, but they ultimately decided against uprooting Carly from the life she knew. She was already enrolled in school and building friendships in her hometown of Bishop, California. So, the agreement was made that Carly would stay in Bishop with her father, Melissa, and her siblings. Just a few months before the events that would change everything, the Gousset family made another move. They relocated from Bishop to the nearby Chalfont Valley, California. They settled into a home in a rather isolated neighborhood known as White Mountain Estates. If you were to look it up on a map, you'd see it's nestled right between Chalfont and Bishop, running alongside Highway 6. The area is stark, surrounded by little more than the vast, empty desert. But according to Melissa, Carly's stepmother, this move didn't bother Carly at all. It wasn't as if they had completely torn her away from her world. She was still very close to everyone she knew, and the drive back to her old stomping grounds was only about 20 minutes. She was able to attend the same high school, Bishop Union High School, and see the same friends. From all outward appearances, the move hadn't impacted her negatively. At the time of her disappearance, Carly seemed to be living the life of an average teenager. She had a solid group of friends and was dating a boy named Donald. Her friends described her as someone who was initially introverted, but once you got her to come out of her shell, she was incredibly fun to be around. Her mother, Lindsay, paints a picture of a deeply caring and nurturing young woman, someone who often put the feelings of others before her own. She just wanted to ensure that everyone around her was happy and well taken care of. She was a great big sister and she loved animals. By all accounts, she was a well-rounded, good kid. However, as is common with teenagers, she had run into a bit of trouble just before she vanished. According to her stepmother, Melissa, Carly had been caught smoking marijuana at school. This landed her in a significant amount of trouble. While the exact details are unclear, it's believed she was suspended for a period of time. Melissa also stated that Carly was required to attend counseling at the school because of the incident. Around the same time, some sources report that her grades had started to slip. Something was clearly going on. Was it just a teenager deciding to experiment, letting her focus on school slide in favor of other things? Or maybe she just wanted to spend more time with her boyfriend. Honestly, that's a phase many of us go through in high school. Or perhaps, was there something deeper happening, something that no one was aware of? Regardless of the reason, this was the backdrop to the days leading up to her disappearance. Now, it is crucial to state that Lindsay, her biological mother, has come forward to say she was not personally aware that any of this was happening at the time. She mentioned that Melissa did eventually tell her about the counseling, but she didn't seem to have a full picture of the situation. Lindsay felt strongly that if something serious were troubling Carly, her daughter would have confided in her, given their close relationship. And by all accounts, Carly was acting like her typical, happy self throughout the beginning of October. And then, suddenly, she was gone. According to the current police timeline, which is important to specify because you will find conflicting times all over the internet, the story begins on the morning of October 13th, 2018. Melissa woke up somewhere between 7:15 and 7:30 in the morning to a chilling discovery. Carly was missing. Carly was officially reported missing to the Mono County Sheriff's Department around 9:30 in the morning, and that's when the searches began. When police arrived at the home, they found no signs of a break-in, no indication of forced entry. In her room, Carly had left behind all of her personal belongings. Her cell phone, her glasses, her money, everything was still there. This was immediately alarming. It was incredibly out of character for Carly, who, like most teenagers, was practically attached to her cell phone. When investigators examined the phone, they found nothing. There were no clues, no messages, no hints at all as to where she could have gone. It was as if she simply got up in the morning, walked out the door, and vanished into the vast desert landscape. I don't know about you, but a teenager leaving her phone, her money, her glasses, that's not a runaway. That's a massive red flag from minute one. Apparently, when Zach and Melissa realized she was missing that morning, they first went out in their cars to search the nearby area themselves. You have to remember, the nearby area was mostly miles of open desert. They were unable to find any sign of her. Once alerted, local authorities brought in all of their resources, hoping to locate a teenager who was very possibly lost in the wilderness. They deployed helicopters, some equipped with infrared technology. They had searchers on horseback, on all-terrain vehicles, and K-9 units trying to track her scent. These intensive searches continued for about a week. During this time, not much information was being released.
Bishop PD or CHP flying over. They had their copter day. Thank you to CHP. Love you. And we are going to potentially have the helicopter do the search over a very large area. She'll follow all the way around us, all the way down to Lake Laws. And they're amazing. And several Mono County sheriffs, and I see all your faces popping up and it makes me want to cry. I love you guys. And I'm putting this out there because it's going on 10 hours that she's been missing. And I want to put this on blast because I don't think she's out in the desert. I think that she could have been abducted or taken because we do live on the highway and it happens, and I'm being real. And I just want to let everybody know, Alicia, you're calling me. Are you watching the video? She's not watching the video. That's okay. I want to put this on blast because I don't know what to do to consider her a missing person. You can't do an Amber Alert because she didn't leave in a car and I don't have a physical description of a vehicle. She is 5'7". Hold on. Let's do this good. Wait, there she is. She's 5'7", about 115 pounds. She has blue eyes and the cutest little nose and a great smile. And her hair goes all the way down past her, like to her belly, let's say, mid-waist. And this was last year's picture. She's a little bit different, but not much. She's still like adorably cute. She doesn't wear makeup and everything. She left in her jeans and a t-shirt. So I'm putting it out there and just go for it. Everybody help me out here. I love you all. Everybody please watch, share, your friends share, my friends share. Everybody just share the shit out of it. All right. Thank you.
Now, I'm sure you're already seeing where the timeline might seem a little off, and we will get deeper into that in a moment. The live streams continued from that point on, with Melissa speaking about what was happening in the moment. She showed the search efforts being conducted by the Mono County Sheriff's Department. The FBI was also participating in the searches and the investigation. Then, 9 days into the disappearance, the police officially canceled their active search. They had been unable to find anything. It was at this point that Melissa posted another video. In it, she basically said that the police were at a standstill, so she was now going to share information that they had allowed her to release. And this gave everyone, for the first time, a glimpse into the state of mind Carly may have been in when she went missing and the bizarre events that led to her disappearance. According to what Melissa stated in this video, and in subsequent live streams and interviews, the story really began on the night of Friday, October 12th. Carly had supposedly gone out to a high school football game in Bishop with her boyfriend, Donald, and a few friends. Sometime around 8 in the evening, Melissa said she called Carly just to check in and make sure she didn't need a ride home from the game. Carly assured her that Donald was going to bring her home afterwards. It doesn't seem that Melissa noticed anything odd during this phone call, or at least she's never mentioned it. But that all changed just 30 minutes later. Around 8:30 in the evening, Carly called Melissa back. This time, she was clearly in distress. There are a few different versions of what was said in this phone call. Melissa has claimed that Carly said something like, "Look, never mind, I do need a ride. I need you to come and get me right away. I'm at the Highlands RV park." She sounded scared of something, very, very upset. Other versions of this story claim that Carly specifically told Melissa that she was booking it, running in the dark down a road called Dixon Lane, which is about 1 to 2 miles north of the RV park. Now, while I can't say for sure which version is correct, one seems to make more logical sense. Melissa said that the first place she drove to was the RV park. When she got there, she realized Carly wasn't there. It's unclear if Carly had specified a meeting spot, or if maybe one of Carly's friends was there to tell Melissa she had left. Regardless, once she realized Carly was no longer at that location, she decided to drive around and search for her, eventually making her way to Dixon Lane. Think about it. If Carly had called and said, "I'm running down Dixon Lane," that probably would have been the first place Melissa would have gone. So perhaps that explains the different stories. But either way, Dixon Lane is where Melissa claims she ultimately found her daughter. This road is on the very outskirts of Bishop, surrounded again by nothing but desert. The only way Melissa was able to spot Carly was because she saw a small light bobbing up and down in the darkness. As she got closer, she realized it was Carly, running and looking deeply frightened. She had her phone in her hand with the flashlight on, because this area is pitch black at night. Melissa said it was obvious from the moment she saw her that Carly was in a great deal of distress. She said Carly jumped into the back of the car, pale as a ghost. From there, they drove back to their home, where Melissa states they arrived at about 9 in the evening. That's about a 20-minute drive, so the timing seems to add up. Now, Zach, her father, was home at the time. He had apparently gotten home from work that Friday at about 6:30 in the evening and, according to his own account, he immediately started drinking some beers. So, his recollection of that night isn't very detailed. Honestly, "I was drinking beers" is the most convenient excuse I have ever heard. Your kid is having a full-blown crisis, and you're just, what? Checked out? Most of the information about what happened next comes directly from Melissa. Melissa said that at some point, either during the drive or once they got home, Carly admitted to her that she had never actually gone to the football game. In reality, she had gone to hang out with Donald and some friends, and they had decided to smoke some weed. At this point, Melissa claims she just assumed Carly was having a strange reaction to the marijuana. She didn't feel it was necessary to take her to the hospital. She believed she could just take Carly home, where she would be safe and taken care of, and that Carly would eventually come down from the high and be totally fine. Look, if my kid was that terrified, talking about the devil's lettuce and acting completely out of her mind, we're going to the emergency room. Period. You don't just hope they sleep it off.
Is out there because so many people are judgmental, and I don't want her story to die. And I was so scared just to say anything, and the investigators are like, "You can't talk to anybody about this because the FBI was involved, and if anybody finds out or they get spooked or somebody tips somebody off, then she could be right here and then she could be gone." So this is hard right now because I don't want people to judge her. Kids smoke pot all the time. And so around 5:48 was my last text in the morning. And I fell back asleep, and then that's when I woke up and she was gone.
However, that is not at all what happened. Carly was reportedly very paranoid and deeply frightened for the entire night, right up until the moment she went missing, and probably for some time after that. During the drive home, Melissa stated that Carly wasn't just disoriented, she was deeply paranoid. Before the police gave them the go-ahead to release details, they had only described Carly as being disoriented. But Melissa later said that paranoid and scared were much better descriptions. She said Carly was moving restlessly around the car during the entire drive home, fearful that the car itself was a source of danger. When they got home, this bizarre behavior just continued. Zach has stated in interviews that one minute Carly would be huddled in a corner, convinced that he or Melissa were a threat to her. And then the next minute, she would be telling them how much she loved them, thanking them for picking her up, and saying she was happy to be home. She would ask Melissa to paint her toenails or to color with her. Melissa said that to try to help Carly feel better, she wanted to get some food into her system. She offered her a protein bar and a salad. But Carly completely refused both, even saying that the salad was the devil's lettuce. She also seemed to be speaking a lot about religion, which could offer some insight into her mental state. She was specifically asking to go to church and to read the Bible. She wanted Melissa to pray with her. That phrase, the devil's lettuce, is particularly interesting because, of course, it's also a common slang term for marijuana. So that was the pattern for most of the night. When Carly was refusing to eat and just couldn't seem to shake the state of paranoia, they decided the best option would be to try to get her to sleep it off. Melissa tried to put Carly to bed, but Carly apparently asked Melissa to stay the night with her. She was so scared, she wanted Melissa to sleep in the bed with her. In between the moments of being deeply fearful of her parents, Carly apparently would not let either of them out of her sight. She was terrified to be alone. Even when Melissa was brushing her teeth and getting ready for bed, Carly was right by her side. According to Melissa, they tried to wind down. Carly was writing something down for a while, and they watched a movie. They just hung out for a little bit. And around 3 in the morning or so, they both went to sleep. Melissa has described being in and out of sleep the whole night. It's unclear if she ever saw Carly fall asleep for sure. She has stated that at around 5:45 in the morning, she drifted awake for a moment. She remembered looking over and seeing Carly lying there, wide awake, with her eyes wide open. Wait, you see your kid lying there, eyes wide open, after a night of extreme paranoia, and you just drift back to sleep? How do you not say something? How do you not check on her? Now, she has stated in most of her interviews that the last time she spoke to Carly was at 5:45 in the morning. It's not clear what she said to Carly at this point, or if Carly's demeanor had changed. Was she still seeming paranoid? That has not been stated anywhere. But that was the last time Melissa says she personally saw Carly. And then she drifted back to sleep. When she woke up again, Carly was gone. Carly had literally just vanished into thin air after a night filled with intense paranoia and fear. So this is the story that people were really hearing for the first time about how Carly disappeared. And over the course of the next few live streams and interviews, more details continued to come out. Now, I quickly want to talk about something that was, and still is, very heavily focused on in this case. I believe it was possibly the day after Carly's disappearance, or at least within that same month of October, that Melissa did an interview on Dateline. It has been reported by numerous sources that in this interview, Melissa entirely changed her story. Now, I do want to state that I have searched high and low through Dateline archives and everywhere else I can think of to find this interview to confirm this information, but I cannot find it anywhere. However, Dr. Phil ended up speaking to both Melissa and Zach, as well as Lindsay, and he questioned Melissa about this. Apparently, in the interview with Dateline, Melissa said that she woke up at around 5:45 in the morning that morning. So far, so consistent. But instead of saying she woke up in Carly's bed and saw Carly lying there wide awake, she stated that she had woken up that morning to do her typical rounds in the house, opening her kids' doors to say good morning and get them ready. She also stated that she opened Carly's door to check on her and said that Carly was fine. At this point, 5:45 in the morning, she doesn't mention Carly lying there wide awake. After this, she said she went back to sleep, woke up later between 7:15 and 7:30, and Carly was gone. Obviously, this tells a completely different story. The first thing that sticks out is that Melissa had previously said she slept in Carly's room. But in this Dateline interview, which happened right after the disappearance, it made it seem like she didn't stay in Carly's room at all. It implies she walked up to Carly's shut door and opened it. This brings us to another point. In her first live stream where she gave details, Melissa stated that she wouldn't have woken up if Carly had left the room because Carly's door had been wide open. But again, in the Dateline interview, she makes it seem like Carly's door was shut. Dr. Phil asked Melissa about this discrepancy. She said, quote, "Yeah, that was a false story because I wasn't. It was a lie about checking in on Carly because it was the beginning, didn't know what to say, and I shouldn't have even done the interview." Zach then added, quote, "It was too early. You don't know what to do." There's no handbook for this, man. I'm sorry, there's no handbook for this is a garbage excuse for lying to national media. The one thing you times do times know is to tell the truth. Why would you ever lie? A lot of people have really latched onto this, saying that it was a deliberate fabrication. Others believe it was just a grieving stepmother trying to follow police instructions not to give out information, so she just said something random. To be fair, we really don't know why she did it. And at the very least, it seems to have been cleared up in other interviews. On top of that, there were other time discrepancies. Melissa had stated she last spoke to Carly at 5:45 in the morning and noticed she was missing at 6:30 in the morning, and that they called police in Lindsay around 9:30. But if you look at the timeline of them searching for 2 hours, that brings the time they noticed her missing to 7:30 in the morning, which is the timeline now accepted by police. So a lot of people were also asking why she initially said 6:30. Honestly, with so much going on, it's very likely that times just got jumbled in a very stressful event. But some people believe there is more to it than that. Now back to the searches. Because of the isolated location of their neighborhood, there are no gas stations nearby, no stores, and absolutely no surveillance cameras that would have captured where Carly was heading. It was just the desert on the side of a highway, early on a Saturday morning. As I mentioned, the Mono County Sheriff's Department conducted an extensive search for about a week. They brought out all the resources they possibly could. The FBI was involved. Other agencies were involved. Unfortunately, they kept coming up empty-handed. From my understanding, they never found anything that gave them any answers as to where Carly could have possibly gone. Melissa and Zach had stated that they did find a single footprint outside of their home that they believed was Carly's. This is why they initially thought that Carly had just gone out to clear her head. Let's be real. A single footprint? In the desert? That's what you're basing this on? That sounds less like evidence and more like a story you tell yourself because the alternative is too terrifying. If she had had a night like they described, maybe she woke up, came to her senses, and just went out for a breath of fresh air. But obviously, when they couldn't find her after 2 hours, they reported her missing. It also seemed like pretty early on, they believed it was possible Carly had been abducted. In that first live stream, just 10 hours after she was reported missing, Melissa stated that because they were so close to a highway, she was worried Carly had been taken. Then, something was uncovered that was incredibly helpful for the police. 3 different witnesses called in to report that they had seen Carly in the early morning hours of October 13th. 2 of the individuals who saw her that morning actually knew her. Not very well, but they had seen her in the neighborhood. One of them was a retired law enforcement officer, and the other was a teacher at a nearby school, though not the one Carly attended. Richard Eddy was one of those neighbors who came forward, saying he had seen Carly that morning.
She was missing. I don't quite understand the whole thing. I was in my hot tub room. It was probably about 6:30, 7 o'clock. This happened a couple years ago, so I'm just trying to guess at it. But I'd say between 6:30 and 7, and it was kind of chilly that morning, I remember. And for some reason, I looked out towards the street. I have big windows in the hot tub room. So I looked out towards the street and I thought, that's unusual. There's a young girl walking by. She had kind of long brown hair. She had clothes on. She had a white, I think, I can't even remember, but I think she had a white top and maybe gray bottoms or something. But she had clothes on, but it was kind of chilly, and I thought, that's kind of weird that she would be there. And she was waving a piece of paper, like a 12 by 12 piece of paper. She was just waving it in the air and walked by. Now, later that morning, I think it was about 8 o'clock maybe, I'm guessing probably, that her mother says, have you seen my daughter? And I told her the story that I had just seen a girl walk by, but I didn't know it was her. Oh, that was her. I think you were the last one to see her. I said, well, I don't know. Well, I'll help you go look. So at that time, I had a side-by-side motorcycle. So I rode up into the canyon, which is straight over from my house, because I figured maybe that's where she would go, because I have 2 chairs set up in that little canyon, and there's a little fire pit there, and I shoot my guns down into the canyon. And I went over there, and she wasn't there, and by the time I came back, she was at my driveway, and I told her I didn't see anything, and she says, well, thank you very much. And that's about the last I really heard of the whole thing.
A second neighbor described the exact same thing. They saw a young girl matching Carly's description, wearing the same outfit, holding a piece of paper, and exhibiting the same strange behavior. And the third witness, someone who did not know Carly personally, described a young girl wearing a white t-shirt and gray sweatpants at the intersection of Highway 6, right where her neighborhood was located. This man said that he was traveling along Highway 6 when he noticed a girl around 7:30 in the morning, awkwardly standing at the highway behind a barbed wire fence, just staring off into space. So it appears from these witnesses that Carly had walked off that morning sometime between 6:30 and 7:30 in the morning. The location was about a mile from her home, and it usually takes the average person about 30 minutes to walk a mile, so this timeline does make sense, and she was clearly heading towards Highway 6. But after this, no one has any idea where she went. This also brought up a critical question. If she was seen just a mile from her home along Highway 6 around 7:30, right around the time that Melissa and Zach noticed she was missing, how on earth was she missed in their initial search? If she was on foot, she couldn't have gotten very far. Where did she go? This is the part that makes zero sense. She's seen a mile from the house, on foot, right when they start looking. How do you miss her? Unless you weren't looking in the right direction, or at all.
How could I have missed her? You know? She was just right there. Just something's wrong. Somebody took her. There's just something. And I wanted to put it out there, and I want you guys all to know. And so, if you needed to know all that, great. And if you didn't care, great, because I don't care. I just want her. We want her home. And thank you for the continued support. And let's bring Carly home, and thank you all again.
If she had been walking on Highway 6, it feels like they would have found her. I have looked at every possible route she could have taken following the roads, and much of the surrounding area appears to be cattle land. I'm making that assumption because of the cattle guards on the roads and the barbed wire fencing. I don't know if the family or police were able to use any of the dirt cattle roads to go back into the desert to search for her, or if they mainly focused on Highway 6 and the towns of Bishop and Chalfont. Unless, by some chance, she got into a car with someone while on the highway, and that is a theory that a lot of people believe. They think she was picked up on Highway 6, which is apparently well traveled by truckers in the very early morning hours. However, I have an issue with that theory. Given everything we know about her state of mind, if you're so fearful of your own parents that you think a car is a source of danger, it's hard to believe she would have willingly gotten into a car with a complete stranger. While the paranoia could have subsided by 7:30 in the morning, something tells me she still wasn't quite right. She also didn't have her phone, so she had no way to reach out to a friend for a ride. On top of that, no one has ever come forward to say they picked her up. Police have searched her phone records and feel that if someone had picked her up and dropped her off somewhere, they likely would have reported it after seeing her face all over the news. It's also possible that she didn't willingly get into a vehicle. Maybe someone took advantage of her vulnerable state and got her out of the area before the searches began. But another issue I have with that is that the entire side of the road is just dry dirt, which is very easily disturbed. Since police searched this entire area with dogs, I feel like if someone had pulled over and there had been a struggle, there would have been signs, tire tracks, disturbed dirt, something. The dogs would have alerted. But from what I know, they have not found anything. The long search by authorities was officially called off on October 25th, 2018. The family continued searching, but unfortunately, as you can probably guess, there was a lot of tension within the family, and there still is. I don't believe that Zach and Melissa have any communication with Lindsay today. Lindsay has made it very clear that she has a lot of questions about things that just don't add up to her regarding Zach and Melissa's story. Lindsay has stated that she felt something was off from the very beginning. When Zach first called her, the first thing he said was, "Carly is gone." She thought that was an odd choice of words. In her mind, the first thing she thought of when she heard "gone" was that Carly was no longer alive. She just found the way he told her to be strange. On top of that, she pointed to Melissa's changing story. From what I've gathered in interviews with Lindsay, there seem to be other issues with changing stories, perhaps in personal communications. All of this has made her feel very uneasy, and Zach has seemed to stay mainly quiet about what happened. She's also questioned why Melissa initially said that Carly left in skinny jeans and a white t-shirt, and then, as soon as the information came out from the witnesses, she changed her story to say Carly was in gray sweatpants. Melissa has come forward separately and given her explanations for all of this. First and foremost, she said that she was simply stressed when it came to all of the changing information. She already addressed the Dateline interview and the time changes, saying it was a stressful situation and she was panicking. She also said that she had originally just guessed that Carly left in skinny jeans because Carly had a lot of clothes and there was no way for her to know for sure what she had left in. But what Carly wore 98% of the time was a pair of skinny jeans. She had been wearing a light blue pair the night before, so she just assumed Carly put on another pair. She said the last thing she saw Carly wearing was a white t-shirt and that Carly was also just wearing underwear. The pants she put on were anyone's guess. She did say, however, that they looked in the laundry and were able to see that Carly had not taken that white shirt off, so they figured that was what she was still wearing, which does match the witness descriptions. Another thing that I really wanted to address is a huge point of focus in this case, and that is that Melissa had actually filmed Carly that night. There are 2 videos that have yet to be released to the public. The FBI has them, the local police have them, and Melissa obviously has them. I believe that Lindsay has also listened to at least one of the 2 videos, as have a handful of other people, including Dr. Phil and a few journalists. So, what's on the recording is not widely known. The fact that this recording was taken to begin with was actually praised by the police.
That community was here today to share thoughts and prayers with the Gousset family.
Honestly, I thought she would come home by now.
Taylor McCormick is a close friend of Carly's, and after nearly a year, she has made it her goal to bring her back home.
I'm doing a lot actually, like for the school today I'm gonna make posters and flyers, and just because I feel like her face is kind of disappearing and it shouldn't.
Since October 13th of last year, Taylor and her mom Kimberly have created shirts and bracelets as a grassroots way of keeping Carly in people's thoughts.
I searched with Melissa and Zach and a bunch of other friends for weeks after Carly had disappeared.
And their message is simple. They just want to bring Carly home.
She's not here. She's not here. She's somewhere else.
After hearing that the search will continue for Carly, so will their message.
If you're seeing this, Carly, you need to come home. Everyone misses you.
They said that it helped them gain a lot of insight into Carly's state of mind and her behavior prior to her disappearance. They were able to form conclusions from it and understand what she might have been thinking. While many people have questioned why on earth you would film someone in such a state of distress instead of getting them help. So, again, we have this situation where people on both sides of the spectrum have very strong opinions. I don't care what the police say. If my child is screaming, having a psychotic break, my first instinct isn't to hit record for a life lesson. My first instinct is to be a parent and get them actual help. According to Melissa, it's not even an actual video recording. She said she turned on her phone's video recorder but then put the phone in her pocket, so you can only hear the audio. She claimed the only reason she did this was to show it to Carly the following day. She assumed Carly would wake up, the paranoia would be gone, and she'd be able to show it to her and say, "This is what you act like on this substance. This is what it does to you." She was hoping it would be a life lesson. Now, during the Dr. Phil show, Lindsay states that in the part of the recording she heard, Carly directly asks Melissa to call 911, and Melissa outright refuses. Melissa has responded to this, saying that she never refused and that Carly never directly asked her to, or she would have. This claim has circulated everywhere. There are even direct quotations out there, which doesn't make sense since so few people have heard it. During the show, Dr. Phil wanted to get to the bottom of it, so he listened to the audio. Afterwards, he said that Carly, in fact, had never directly asked Melissa to call 911. He says that Carly asked Melissa if she would call 911 if anything happened to her. Melissa apparently agrees and reassures her that nothing was going to happen. Then Carly asks again, "But if anything were to happen, would you?" And Melissa says yes. So we have some people claiming there was an outright refusal to get help, and others who have heard it saying that's not what happened. Because it hasn't been released, there's no way to confirm any of it. Melissa and Zach also caught a lot of flack on the Dr. Phil show because they had apparently been asked for the audio prior to the show and refused to provide it. Then, when he confronted them about it on the show, they acted like they had never been asked. After some back and forth, Melissa agreed to let Dr. Phil listen to it, but she didn't want it aired on the show. And I will say, as a parent, I probably would not want to air something like that of my child either. I feel like it could be an opportunity for people to pick Carly apart. So I don't know if that's why they decided not to release it fully, but it just wasn't released. But at this point, the FBI and the police have the audio, so they're the ones who can actually do something with it. Police also, during their investigation, interviewed Carly's friends and family. We know nothing about these interviews because police have not released any details. It's possible that lie detector tests were taken.
Are we all ready to get started? Media, as you're checking the microphones, everything good? Okay. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm Sheriff Ingrid Braun. Here with me today are from the Mono County Sheriff's Office, Investigator Nino Hernandez. Oh, sorry. My public information officer, Sarah Roberts, who organized this, is filming the Facebook Live for those of you who are watching live. Thanks, Sarah. Then you're going to have to step closer because I can't shout into the microphones because this is live TV. So step closer. I'll speak as loud as I can. So starting from the beginning, thank you for joining us this morning. I'm Sheriff Ingrid Braun. Here with me today are from the Mono County Sheriff's Office, Investigator Nino Hernandez. Our Public Information Officer, Sarah Roberts, is doing the Facebook Live. Our partners from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, we have Assistant Special Agent in Charge, Robert Tripp, and Special Agent Brad Bilderbach. I'd also like to thank Public Affairs Specialist Gina Swanky for organizing this. And we also have Carly's parents here with us, Lindsay Fairley, and Zach and Melissa Gousset. So I want to start with to Lindsay and to Zach and Melissa. I cannot fathom the pain that you are experiencing. And I know that you all love and miss Carly very much.
It was exactly 1 year ago today that I received your last text, not knowing it would be the very last time I heard from you. 2 days after that, I got the call that made this whole world go dark. The news that my sweet rainbow baby had gone missing. I have so many questions, Carly. What happened to you, honey? Where are you? Carly, you had brought an entire village to try to find you. I miss you so much. Your mother. Your brothers miss you. Your little brother Bramson was telling me how he misses you, telling him that his clammy little body feels like wet ham. I miss you always asking me to tickle your soft little angelic back, and me always grumbling to do it, but I would give my dying breath to do it again. Baby girl, please come home, sweetheart. I don't know how much longer I could go on without you, Carly. I pray every moment that you are being treated better than any of us could have treated you. I hold on to hope that maybe someone does have you, that they will see the catastrophic damage this has done to our family. I love you, sweetie. Please come home. We love you, Carly.
With all the negative that's going around out there, be strong and come home. I will make that all go away. I promise you that. A friend of yours gave us a rose after his graduation, and he said it was for you when you come home. And I have it, and I will always have it waiting for you. If you have to, call any law enforcement or anyone who can help you. Go to a hospital and tell them where you are, who you are, and they will get you home safe with us. I pray multiple times a day that you will be brought home safely. Carly, I love you so much with all of my heart. Please come home. Please come home to where you are not only loved by me and your family and friends, but by an entire community that wants to see you come home safely. Dear Lord, please, please bring Carly home. To all of us. And if someone has you, get away. Be strong and get away. And I want to say to that person, let her go. so she can come back home where she's very much loved. Find it in your heart to let her go. Take her to a hospital, please. I beg you, please let her go. A piece has been taken from you that only can be replaced by her safe return. And she is loved by so many, please.
Hi, Carly. Hi, Carvar. I hope you're watching this. I miss you so much. This whole world misses you so much. I miss driving you to school. I miss arguing with you. I miss you stealing clothes out of my closet. I miss every single little moment that we've always had together ever since you came into my life. I pray that you see this, or somebody that you're with sees this, and has the heart to bring you home. And if you do think you see her, don't wait. Just call 911, because the worst thing that could happen is they say, I'm sorry, it's not her. I'd rather be trying and just do it if you really think so. Don't wait. And we love you, Carly. And your brothers miss you so much. All four of them. You're the only sister. We just love you. And miss you. Miss you more than words can even ever say.
But from what I've seen, a handful of Carly's friends did give police some information that provided more insight into Carly's behavior. Donald, her boyfriend, was able to tell police about that night. He has also posted about it on social media. What Donald has claimed is that they were hanging out with a few friends that night. He's been very adamant that they never went to a party, it was just a small gathering, and then at some point, Carly began to panic. He said they first started smoking weed at around 7 in the evening that night. But then, like a flip of a switch, Carly suddenly became scared of him. She was scared of the music that was playing. At some point, they decided to leave wherever they were, which I assume was the RV, park, and head to Donald's home. During this walk, according to Donald, she continued to panic. She was very, very paranoid. At one point, he tried to hold her to calm her down. I've seen reports that there was a brief physical interaction before she took off, running away from him. Donald said that he didn't chase after her because it was very clear to him that she was horrified of him. He was worried that if he ran after her, it would just make things worse. And I'm sure at this point, he probably knew that Melissa was on her way to get her. So, Donald just let her run off. Her friends have allegedly claimed that they saw a change in Carly's behavior in the time leading up to her disappearance. Some friends said that Carly was having what they described as paranoid episodes. She would all of a sudden become very paranoid and seem to be fixated on her phone, saying that her phone was being tracked. But I don't believe anyone was able to offer up any more information, like who she thought was tracking her or why. On top of that, despite these claims from friends, Carly's family, including Zach, Melissa, and Lindsay, said that they had never witnessed any of these paranoid episodes before. While it does seem possible that the weed Carly smoked was laced with some sort of other substance, this information from her friends makes me wonder. It's been reported that no one else who smoked that night had any sort of strange reaction. If it is true that Carly had been experiencing paranoid episodes leading up to this, it makes me wonder if smoking marijuana uncovered an underlying mental health condition. Now, I know I might get some flack for this, but it's been noted in some studies that it is possible for smoking marijuana to make someone more likely to experience temporary states of confusion or paranoia, which fits Carly's behavior that night perfectly. It can also, in some cases, bring underlying conditions to the surface. I don't know if the police were ever able to get any evidence to prove this one way or the other. I just feel like having that bit of information is important to know in general for situations like this. While this chaos continues to this day, with a lot of finger pointing and blaming, Carly is still missing. She should be the focus of this investigation. Where is Carly? The priority should be getting her picture out there and getting information out there. Did she get snatched off the side of Highway 6? Did she wander into the desert, disoriented and hallucinating? Did she maybe wander into an area where the searches somehow didn't find her? It's hard to say. As I said, the FBI was brought in to assist in the investigation. There is a page for her on the FBI website, and they do have their own reward for information. I do know that there was a press conference in 2019, but I unfortunately have not seen much since then. The Mono County Sheriff's Department stated that they were essentially no closer to answers, and the FBI essentially came up and said that they need the public to call in tips to go any further. So everything is just at this massive standstill. And there's been even more chaos because of social media. This reminds me of the Marina Joyce situation where people start commenting things like, blink twice if you need help. And I know that people mean well, but if you genuinely have speculations, take that information to the police. A video was released on July 19th, 2019, that has been watched over 22 million times. This person was out dirt biking in California when they saw someone they believed to look very similar to Carly. They say on there that they called 911 and reported it. But despite doing that, they still went to the lengths of making it seem like they had found her, which is incredibly damaging to the family. Lindsay has speculated that Melissa and Zach have a lot more information than they are letting on. Lindsay has even openly suggested the possibility that Carly passed away in the middle of the night from what she had consumed. That specifically when Melissa woke up at 5:45 and saw Carly wide awake with her eyes wide open, that Carly was already gone. She's also stated that she believes that it was Melissa who all of these witnesses saw that morning in the gray sweatpants and the white t-shirt, and not actually Carly. I don't know how plausible that theory could be. Honestly, that is a wild theory, but can you blame the biological mom? Her daughter vanishes from the stepmom's house after a night of terror, and the stories keep changing. At that point, you'd believe anything was possible. Melissa and Zach, on the other hand, have said that they think it's very possible that Carly was abducted after leaving their home early that morning. Zach has also stated that he believes it's possible that she walked so far into the desert while disoriented that she just got lost and succumbed to the elements. To me, based on the eyewitnesses and Carly's behavior, I think that at that time in the morning, there was something still going on with her mentally. If she was outside that morning looking up at the sky with a piece of paper in her hand, the first thing that comes to my mind is a map. Did she think she had a map to go somewhere? This is why it's so important that the police have that audio recording. Was there anything she said that night that could have been a clue? There really is just no telling what kind of delusion she could have been having at the time. So, to me, I think it's very likely that she wandered off into the desert. But at this point, everything is on the table because nobody seems any closer to finding the answers. I am hoping that continuing to raise awareness about Carly's disappearance will push authorities to continue digging into it. Years have passed at this point. Is there any new technology that could be used to help search for her in that desert area? This brings me to my next point, which I really want to reiterate. There is a way to submit tips anonymously. With everything going on social media, the doxing and the threats, it's very possible someone is just too scared to say anything. There is a pretty hefty reward. The FBI is offering a $5,000 reward for information leading to the whereabouts of Carly Gossett. On the official Bring Carly Home website, it says that they are offering a $17,500 reward. So there's a lot of money out there for whoever has information that can lead authorities to Carly. We don't know what happened to her. We don't know a lot of detailed information. The top priority is bringing Carly home and figuring out what happened. I will have everything you could possibly need down below if you have any information in Carly's case. Lindsay has stated in a more recent interview that the best way to figure out where you can donate to help increase the reward would be to reach out to the FBI. Other than that, share Carly's story, share her missing persons poster, and if you see her, call 911. If you see someone that looks like her, that you think could possibly be her, call 911 and try not to take those matters into your own hands. The scariest thing about this tragedy isn't just that a young girl vanished. It's how the people who were supposed to protect her created a storm of confusion and doubt that has overshadowed the search for truth ever since. When the story keeps changing, justice has no foundation to stand on. Now, tell us honestly, what's more disturbing to you, a teenager having a paranoid episode, or a parent who decides to film it for a life lesson instead of calling for help? When a stepmother lies to national media about her missing child, can you ever trust anything else she says? If your child was in that state, would your first instinct be to grab a phone to record them, or to get them to an emergency room immediately? And who do you believe more in this story? The biological mother with unanswered questions, or the stepmother whose story kept changing? Has anything like this ever happened in your life? Drop your story below. We read and reply to everything. And if this story touched you, subscribe so you don't miss the next case, which will shock you even more. May Carly Gossett rest in peace. Scripture tells us, be sure your sin will find you out. No secret stays buried forever. Take this story as a warning. A parent's first duty is to protect, not to document a crisis. When you choose your own narrative over your child's safety, you fail them in the most fundamental way. Now look at the screen. You see the next videos we prepared for you. Believe me, we worked just as hard on them, and if the questions in this case made you angry, the next one will expose a level of betrayal that is almost unbelievable. So we don't say goodbye. May God keep you and your loved ones safe. See you there.